This is Mr. Scott. He is the star of my brand new fan fiction. If you like what I do here, please share it with your friends and your family. Captain's Log 2424.5. The Starship Enterprise continues to orbit the third moon of the gas giant planet Scorpio Majoris, awaiting the return of the crew on shore leave. Chief Engineer Scott volunteered to run the transporter panel, anticipating a special package to be delivered by his good friend Sulu. The item Sulu is carrying is a bottle of home-crafted whiskey, purchased at the city market, paid for by Scotty, and not created in a replicator. Scott slowly slid the control slider up the transport panel, listening to the unique sound of the transfer, watching the crew appear out of thin air. The magic of the transporter had become routine over time, and Scott is no longer fascinated by the technology behind the process of scattering, transferring, and reorganizing atoms. Scott expected Sulu to appear up front on the right transporter pad, but once the crew of 5 materialized, Sulu is notably absent. A quick count showed the rest of the crew is present and accounted for, but no Sulu. "Where's Sulu?" Scott asked the crew. Chief of Security Dickerson stepped down off the pad and replied, "He was standing right next to me." Scott brought up the transport information on his screen and saw red script blinking in unison, catching his attention. The script read, "File corrupted." "What does that mean?" Dickerson asked, pointing to the screen. Slowly, Scott replied, "I have no idea. I've never seen anything like this before," and began to panic. "Get me a tech crew down here," Scott snapped. "Quickly!" McCoy, Kirk, and Scott joined the 2 tech crew staff as they surrounded this display. "Where's Sulu?" McCoy asked, concerned. "Is he trapped in this infernal machine?" One of the tech crew replied, "We have an incomplete file transfer." "What does that mean, incomplete?" "He's not trapped in transit or stored in the hard drive. He is encoded, but his file is scrambled," the tech replied. "I don't understand," McCoy said sternly. "What do you mean scrambled? Can you fix it?" "We can attempt to put the file back in order, but some of the information is missing. Even if we were able to sort out the information, we couldn't recreate the whole file." "I don't believe you. There must be a way," McCoy barked. Spock replied, "Doctor, Sulu is gone." Kirk asked, "How could this happen? We've used the transporter for years. I've never heard of a file being corrupted before. There must be a safeguard for this." A tech replied, "The chances of this kind of file error is 1 in a million, but possible. I don't recall an error being reported." "You have to do something," McCoy snapped, waving his hand around in distress. "We will do our best," the tech replied, "but I can't make any guarantees." "Spock, figure this out," McCoy yelled. "You're the computer expert." "I will do what I can, Dr. McCoy, but transporter technology is not my field of expertise," Spock replied. "There must be someone or something that we can find to help." Kirk replied, "Calm down, Bones. Give them a chance to do their jobs." Despondent, Scott leaned back against the wall, closed his eyes and mumbled, "I killed Sulu." "This wasn't your fault, Scotty," Kirk reassured. "Don't blame yourself." Just then, a tech noticed something odd on the screen and tapped a few keys. "This doesn't make sense," the tech said, rubbing his chin. This field should have been left empty." Scott opened his eyes and leaned over to read the screen. "No, it asks if any additional material will be transported back. Sulu had a bottle of whiskey, and I inputted the weight." "The computer automatically calculates weight," the tech replied. "That field was for mass, which is density times volume. The computer didn't know what to do with the extra input and corrupted the file." Scott felt weak, slid down the wall, leaning his head back in a daze and denial. "I killed Sulu? With a typo?" Scott asked. "Why didn't the computer flag the mistake before I energized the transfer?" From the transporter pad, an unfamiliar voice called out, "Your friend Sulu is not lost or gone, and your error is not why he's trapped in transport." Everyone turned to face the alien, who stepped down to the floor and raised an arm in a friendly gesture to greet the Enterprise crew. Scotty stood up and stepped to the front, feeling the weight of the world lift off of his chest. Where is Sulu? Scotty asked. Aren't you curious who I am? The alien asked. In time. Where is my friend? What did you do with him? Spock asked. Why do we read a corrupt file if Sulu is intact? I needed a place to hold him until I cleared up the matter before us, the alien replied. I can correct the file with a thought after our discussion. Curious, Kirk asked. What is this matter you speak of? Why do you hold Sulu hostage? Hostage isn't the right word. Your friend is a thief, and I am here to take him into custody, the alien explained. Thief? What are you accusing him of stealing? Kirk asked. A very valuable bottle of Arcanian whiskey, the alien replied. He absconded with the merchandise like he owned it. Sulu is no thief, Scott yelled. I gave him more than enough to cover the cost. I don't know what he did with the money you gave him, but he didn't spend it on whiskey, the alien said. Fine, I'll pay again, Scott said, pulling out his wallet. Bring Sulu back. That's not how this works, the alien replied. That's not how any of this works. The crime has been committed, and your friend will have his day in court. I have come to claim his entity and take him back with me to stand trial for theft. I won't allow you to take him, Kirk said flatly. He will stay trapped in your computer indefinitely, the alien replied, until you release him to me. Who are you? McCoy asked. Alien law enforcement? You are as much of an alien to me as I am to you. No, I am the owner of the establishment your friend stole from. We don't want law enforcement involved. Trust me, the alien said. And you think we're going to hand Sulu over to you? McCoy asked. You're crazy. We'll pay you for that bottle of whiskey, and you can return Sulu back into a physical being. I will receive restitution, my bottle returned, and your friend will be punished, the alien replied. You don't get to dictate to me how this turns out. Only I can transform him back into his previous form, so unless you want him to remain a computer file, I suggest you all step aside and let me do what I came to do. Just then, the sound of the transporter filled the room, and Sulu formed on the pad, holding the bottle of whiskey in his arms, unharmed and unaware of what happened. What's going on? Sulu asked, confused. Scotty walked over to the transporter pad and held out his arms. It's about time you arrived. I've been waiting for my whiskey all day long. And here we go again. This is Mr. Scott. He is the star of the show. If you can, pass this story, this file, this story on to your friends. I'd like to build up some more followers, and if you're into Star Trek the original series, I have like 14 of these now in a playlist that you can just go ding, 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 ding. Oh, here we go. Ding, 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 ding with your file there, and just get onto my mailing list or onto my subscriber list. And I do appreciate it, and thank you for showing up.